Sports betting podcast for Saturday, March the 21st, the NCAA tournament brought to you by OffshoreInsiders.com. Let's take a look at some news and notes. We'll take a look at some ATS trends and some sportsbook trends as well. Kentucky and Cincinnati. Some news and notes. Kentucky has the 17th best defensive efficiency, allowing 93.2 points per 100 possessions. However, Kentucky the best at 85.5. Now, according to the Ken Palm Index, Kentucky is the 57th luckiest team in the nation, much better than Cincinnati at 220. Octavius Ellis, of course, did miss part of the first game for Cincinnati because of a cheap shot that he threw. Now, the luck factor, a lot of handicappers do believe luckier teams are the ones that might be a little bit overvalued. The more unlucky, undervalued, and essentially it is based on a team's record in close games. A team that wins a bunch of games that goes down to the wire considered to be lucky. Arkansas and North Carolina. Bobby Portis certainly a definite go-to guy for Arkansas, the SEC Player of the Year, and yes, that's the same conference that Kentucky plays in, so he is a primetime player. UNC has had a tendency to lose focus as they nearly blew a lead to Harvard and almost a victim of an upset after having a double-digit lead late. They do. A lot of experts thought that Harvard was a team they matched up perfectly against. UAB and UCLA. UAB 17-6 in 2015 with 5 setbacks by 8.5 points or less. On the other hand, their last 3 games were each covers by 11 or more. 8 covers by 11 or more during that said streak. Now, UCLA does have a similar record spread-wise, 14-5 their last 19, but 6 covers were by 5 or less, 9 by single digits. UAB traveled 580 miles to get here, UCLA 1,237. Utah and Georgetown. Utah's not done well versus big and physical teams, and they're each team going up against squads that are vastly different than they played in the first round, so both teams will have to make quick adjustments. Both teams traveled a long distance. Utah 998 miles, Georgetown 1182. Each of Utah's last few wins were followed up by clunkers failing against the spread by 8.5 or more after their last 4 wins. NC State and Villanova. NC State traveled 520 miles, Villanova 212 to Syracuse. Now, Nova's a team that became very popular to knock by some of the experts, saying they would be one of the first top seeds, actually the first top seed, according to many, to take an exit. But they entered this game on a 14-2 streak, their last 16. By the way, the Master Lockline powers 620 sports services beyond each and every play exclusively at OffshoreInsiders.com. 23-11 run. Only the highest-rated plays from the highest-rated handicappers in their highest-rated sports. OffshoreInsiders.com, the Master Lockline. Now, in Nova's last 10 games, 7 times they covered by 9.5 or more. Wolfpack defense, 8th worst in the country at generating turnovers. Nova, the 4th best offensive efficiency, 121.2 points per 100 possessions. Nova, the number 12 defensive efficiency team in the country out of 351, allowing 91.9 points per 100 possessions. State is 87th, allowing 98.2. As far as the public betting trends, there's really no overwhelming consensus from the big dance today. Arizona has 63% of the bets. That is, of course, 63% of people who bet on the game spread-wise. Notre Dame, 65% against Butler. North Carolina also the same range against Arkansas. A little bit more of a consensus on the totals, though fewer people bet totals. The strongest totals public play is NC State. It's actually Cincinnati and Kentucky. 85% of the public expecting the game to go over the total. Also, NC State and Villanova, 80% of the people who bet on that game are betting on the over. Now, you want to continue to follow these sportsbook trends, go to OffshoreInsiders.com. You see right at the top of the page, Sportsbooks and Fantasy Sports. Click on that link, and you can follow those sportsbook public betting trends. Spread betting trends, UAB against UCLA. The Bruins are 13-3 against teams with a winning straight-up record, but UAB 16-5 following a spread win. Cincinnati and Kentucky. Kentucky 12-3 on neutral courts. Ohio State versus Arizona. Ohio State 10-3 off of a spread loss. Arizona is 11-3 against teams with a winning record. Georgia State versus Xavier. GSU 6-15 outside the conference. Xavier 19-6 in the NCAA tournament over the years. NC State and Villanova. NC State 18-7 following an ATS loss. Villanova 22-8 outside the conference. Utah and Georgetown. Utah 21-6 outside the conference. Georgetown 2-11 following a spread win. Arkansas and North Carolina. Arkansas 7-15 on neutral courts. North Carolina 18-7 versus the Southeastern Conference, but they're 4-11 against teams with a winning straight-up record. Butler and Notre Dame. The Bulldogs 20-6 in the NCAA tournament. Fighting Irish have dropped 7 straight. Big dance contest. All records, of course, are against the spread.